I'm educational justice coach Lindsay Lyons, and here on the Time for Teachership podcast, we learn how to inspire educational innovation for racial and gender justice, design curricula grounded in student voice, and build capacity for shared leadership. I'm a former teacher leader turned instructional coach. I'm striving to live a life full of learning, running, baking, traveling, and parenting because we can be rockstar educators and be full human beings. If you're a principal, assistant superintendent, curriculum director, instructional coach, or teacher who enjoys nerding out about co-creating curriculum with students, I made this show for you. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Season 6 premiere of Time for Teachership. This is episode 226. I cannot believe that we are at episode 226. Very exciting stuff in the last year. Really excited to add that social studies education focus. Excited to have so many wonderful guests on. And in fact, the guests that we had who were talking about facilitation strategies and thinking about all of that kind of July leadership series, we are going to have in October kind of an episode that brings all of it together and thinks about, if you're a classroom teacher, how do you apply that in a classroom setting? So how do we do things that we've done with adults and bring that into a classroom space with students? Because often the same strategies work for both audiences. So excited about that. Excited to continue the focus on social studies education and kind of that one learning model for all, which is a phrase that comes from INPS, or the International Network for Public Schools, that I used to teach at a school that was part of. And some new exciting things as well, including an opportunity for you to share what you would like to see on the podcast or hear or engage with, rather, on the podcast. And so we'll link to a very short Google form. You can also email me at hello@lindsaybethlyons.com. Feel free to share whatever comes to mind around things that would support you in your particular role. Feel free to share what your role is, because I know we have a lot of teachers, we have a lot of leaders, we have a lot of instructional coaches who listen and engage with episodes in multiple ways. So let me know, again, through that form or an email. But here's my thoughts on what is coming in the future season. So we have a lot of stuff actually through 2025 is already mostly scheduled and slotted out. But then we have, the next 6 months of 2026. We're off in December as per usual, for family time, for rest, for rejuvenation, and then we'll be back in January. But we want to think about a couple focus areas. So one is I really want to have more Indigenous education experts on the pod. So Indigenous authors, I have several that reading their work and inviting them on the podcast, although people are busy. So we'll fingers crossed that folks can say yes, but also really want to highlight and engage with and talk to and learn with the Indigenous educators who are Indigenous Educators of the Year across the country. If anyone has recommendations also for podcast guests specifically, please let me know. Very excited to engage with that. And that'll be throughout all of our topic areas. Another lens that I'm excited to bring throughout any of those series, any of those topic areas, is the family lens. So as a parent myself, that's very top of mind currently, but also just doing some family coaching and exploring what that looks like as coaches to be working with families who are supporting students at home as well as in school around perhaps new social studies content, right? That's been a big focus for investigating history, being a curriculum that I'm very familiar with and have been engaging with in the past year in Massachusetts. How do we support at home these content and pedagogical shifts in school, right? Like inquiry pedagogy, like learning that Thanksgiving isn't maybe what we learned Thanksgiving was when we were in school, right? There's both adaptive and technical changes, but primarily the adaptive changes for new curricula like that, learning how to do math in innovative ways and thinking there's more than one way to solve a problem, right? Like there are things we can do at home that celebrate and foster the skills that students are going to need in classrooms that may look differently and be experienced differently than when we were in school. And I'd love to coach families to learn how to do that as I'm on my learning journey for learning how to parent in that way as well. Two topics that we're excited about. One is instructional coaching. A lot of instructional coaches listen, really opening up my coaching to think about, I've always worked with instructional coaches, but I want to be more intentional about supporting their needs. And so we want to have a topic where there's a month, as our typical month-long series. We want to add one in that is on instructional coaching. So really excited about that. Also can recommend different podcasts that already focus on that are excellent. So I'll be learning from and with them. As well as there's a lot of teachers
who are interested in the edupreneur space. So doing either a kind of a side hustle, kind of having their own business on the side of full-time teaching or instructional coaching or principalship or, whatever that is, their current school-based role, or district-based role, and having something on the side, or kind of transitioning into an educational coach role where they have their own business and are departing the classroom or a school-based or district-based role. And I've kind of shied away from that because I just want to I want to give folks what they need. And I keep thinking that's not what people need, but so many people are curious about this aspect. So maybe we'll devote kind of 1 month, one of those series around edupreneurship, how to build businesses, interviewing maybe edupreneurs who have been former guests on the podcast and seeing like, how did you do it? Maybe we'll do some behind the scenes episodes with my team, like who are the folks and what are the roles and what are the tasks involved in making this happen.
Hi, this is Leah popping in to share the free resource for this episode, a podcast topic suggestion form. If you have any ideas for future podcast episodes, please share it. Your input helps us create content you'll love. You can find this at the blog post for this episode, www.lindsaybethlyons.com/blog/226. Now back to the show.
Happy to answer any questions. We could do kind of an Ask Me Anything or a Q&A episode where folks send in questions. So feel free to, again, use that form or send me an email with questions you have about any of these topics, but edupreneurship, for example, and I can answer those as a podcast episode. So those are kind of all of the thoughts around season 6, what we're hoping to have in the future, our request for responses from you. So again, please share your ideas. We'll send that out in our monthly newsletter as well. So if you get the monthly newsletter and are subscribed to that, that should have come out yesterday to you, or maybe today, because yesterday was Labor Day, I think, if I'm thinking into the future correctly. I'm recording this at the end of July, so I think that's about right. And we will catch you in the next episode. Our next episode is going to be with SL Rao, mapping systems of power and co-creating with students. Super excited about that. We also have upcoming in the next few weeks, Jillian Flanders and company is on the podcast around early childhood book series. There's kind of a leadership version and a teacher version that's going to be really exciting. Dr. Jacoby Bell and Dr. Reshma Ramkelawan were on the podcast around building an equitable classroom, and that was an amazing conversation. Dr. Claudine Kissart is talking about 2 biases that we focused on one in the podcast, but decision fatigue and herd mentality in her book are just real things that I experience and I know teachers experience. We also have some other folks who have already recorded and will be on the podcast soon. Dr. Chad Dumas talking about leading teacher teams, which is such a unique skill set that we don't often talk about. So really excited about that. We have engagement is thinking with James Nottingham. I'm so excited that he was on the podcast. This is great. You may know him of the Learning Pit kind of model and framework. We also have Dr. Claudia Bersolin-Smith and Marlene Moyer talking about students not being their behaviors, which is just a fascinating take on quote unquote classroom management or like behaviors in the classroom. And it's relational and it's rooted in honesty and self-awareness and just so good. What an important shift. It was such a good conversation. Anyways, get excited about all those as well as many solo episodes coming up soon.
If you like this episode, I bet you'll be just as jazzed as I am about my coaching program for increasing student-led discussions in your school. Shane Safir and Jamila Dugan talk about a pedagogy of student voice in their book, Street Data. They say students should be talking for 75% of class time. Do students in your school talk for 75% of each class period? I would love for you to walk into any classroom in your community and see this in action. If you're smiling to yourself as you listen right now, grab 20 minutes on my calendar to brainstorm how I can help you make this big dream a reality. I'll help you build a comprehensive plan from full-day trainings and discussion protocols like Circle and Socratic Seminar to follow-up classroom visits where I can plan, witness, and debrief discussion-based lessons with your teachers. Sign up for a nerdy, no-strings-attached brainstorm call at lindsaybethlyons.com/contact. Until next time, leaders, think big, act brave, and be your best self.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. We'll see you on the next episode.